So, as President Trump doubles down on keeping America safe from narco-terrorist drugs, Democrats in Congress deny it even exists.
Most narco traffickers are not in those boats. They pay people to do that, and usually people who are not significantly involved with narco trading. It's the way they make money.
This is not who we are. This is not America.
People on a boat in the middle of the Caribbean carrying cocaine are not a direct threat to the lives of our service members or Americans.
What? What? This guy just said people on a boat in the middle of the Caribbean headed to America with those drugs are not a threat to Americans and the service members. He must be high on cocaine right now. Because how can you sit there with a straight face and I have to hear this again because there's no way he said that. It's no way.
They make money.
This is not who we are. This is not America.
People on a boat in the middle of the Caribbean carrying cocaine are not a direct threat to the lives of our service members or Americans.
Whether direct or indirect, it's a threat. Because for one, those drugs get into, the communities, and that's when the danger and everything happens. Because one of, kids get a hold of those drugs, or, one of the people on those drugs do stuff to other people, harmful things to other people. It's all types of homelessness and stuff like that, one of the main reasons those people are homeless is because they got hooked onto something and then they lost everything. So it's kind of like, these politicians, like I say, man, a lot of them are crooked politicians, yo. This is exactly what the president be talking about. It's like these people, they get their pockets lined by, people who do illegal activity. And then they get on in front of the press and the media and they denounce it like it's nothing, like it's just a small thing. When, a lot of times they've never had anyone around them in their circle or even, associated to their circle who has really been affected by, drugs, whether it's the violence or whether it's the actual usage of it. So, oh man, these people are crazy.
There's no such thing as a narco-terrorist.
I mean, what are they talking about? Our next guest served as acting DEA administrator under President Trump. Derek Monks joins us now. Mr. Administrator, I watched this hearing, and I'm looking at these Democrats continue this nonsense, but we have direct intelligence that tells us they're killing Americans. Why can't they see that?
LJ, good to see you again. I mean, look,
brother.
Venezuela has evolved into a command and control hub of massive drug trafficking around the world, not just to the U.S. The dictators, the corrupt leadership, the Cartel de los Sols is one of the most dangerous terrorist organizations in the world right now, impacting America. The families in this country are losing record amounts of children. We're under a chemical war, and the Democrats and people in America should pay more attention to what's happening on the streets of this country and the devastation in our communities.
Again, they should pay attention to what's going on in the communities and what's going on the streets, but they are not affected. They are not in the streets. They do not live in these communities. They live far away from the danger. They have the resources to make sure they don't see these homeless people that are living outside of restaurants, and you kind of ask yourself, well, how did they get there? Majority of the time it's because they got hooked onto something and it just took over their lives. But these people that they have the nice suits and stuff like that, they don't have to, even if they see it, they turn a blind eye to it. It does not affect them in their day-to-day at all. So they can easily get in front of a camera and sit there and tell the rest of the American people, well, it's not a threat to you guys, when it's the same people who are watching them say that, who have family members who have died from over. I have I've had conversations with several people, and one I remember because I just had this conversation with a um a mother a couple days ago, and she lost her son to an addiction to heroin. Um, it was laced with fentanyl, and she lost her son. So you can't sit and tell me that it's not a danger to Americans when you have mothers who are losing their sons to these drugs that are on these boats that are coming in from these areas. It's just no way you can tell me that, because they need to go out and talk to real people in the community, and really get a firsthand account of what these people are dealing with. I felt so bad for the lady because I would have never expected her to tell me something like that. Son young in his 20s, and not only that, he just got, in with the wrong crowd. They was doing some type of some type of medication that you can easily just go get off the shelf, but they were just doing it and doing it and doing it. And she was just telling me the story, and it's just, it's heartbreaking, you know, because she has to go through life living thinking like, man, is there something she could have done better? Or is there some type of intervention she could have did, when a lot of times there's nothing you can do, and a lot of these drugs that are on the streets, you don't know what's in them. You have no clue what's in them. And for like Democrats to get on here and say, well, no, it's not a danger to America and stuff like that, man, they're pulling the wool over your guys' eyes. That's pretty much what they're doing. They're pulling the wool over your eyes, and they're taking, under the table, or, they're taking, misdirected funds that get, sent to them for getting on TV, and telling the American people there's nothing to be worried about. Does everyone want their people running around looking like zombies? And this is people of all races. So, drug addiction has no specific race, or no specific demographic. It can go from elderly all the way down to kids. It's a wide range of people who can end up trying something, or mistakenly getting themselves into something, and then they don't have a way to get out of doing it, and they either lose their lives or they lose everything, within their lives. So it's just crazy. It's just real crazy. Very unfortunate that this is the leadership in certain states, to where, they'll take this type of stance just because they don't like Donald Trump. That's the only reason these people are taking this type of stance, is because they do not like Trump. They'll rather see people in the community die and be homeless with nowhere to go, because they just don't like Donald Trump. And it's just that's just a shame. A life has to be worth way more than that, than to you to get on national TV and denounce something that's really becoming a huge problem. It's been a problem in the United States, but now with fentanyl and all type of other chemical drugs that they're making, it's even more of a problem.
So these guys are operating like Al Qaeda, ISIS, Hezbollah. So how would the Democrats want us to handle those terrorist organizations who are killing Americans at record levels? We've never had terrorists kill this many Americans. So it's really mind-boggling, LJ, and I applaud the effort of the Secretary of War, of the administration, because they are pulling together this giant, powerful force of good to defeat the evil that's destroying our future generation. It's that simple.
Derek, maybe they haven't met with families like we've had the opportunity to do. I mean, one family I met with, all three of their sons died of poisoning. Not from an overdose, but because they thought they were taking a Xanax, and it was laced with fentanyl. And we got numbers from the DA, from your agency that you used to work. Almost 50% of all of the drugs are now laced with fentanyl. But they don't seem to get that either.
LJ, the DEA, through December 1st of this year alone, working with their partners, sees 45 million fake pills, 9,000 pounds of this poison that would have been in the streets of America. If you do the math, the potential, they say, DEA, it could have killed 347 million people.
I mean, when you hear numbers like that, that's nothing to just blink your eyes at and just roll your eyes and just keep it moving about, yo. They said over 50% of the illegal drugs out here, specifically they're talking about the pills. But I mean, you can't even trust marijuana these days in the streets. But it's laced with fentanyl. It takes a real microscopic drop of fentanyl to kill a person. And they said that they've confiscated enough drugs to kill over 350 million people. If this isn't a crisis, I don't know what is. If this shouldn't be at the top of the list of someone who's the leader of our country, I don't know what should. You know, it's just crazy that people will sit and say, "Oh well, it's not a problem." It's obviously a problem. Go outside. Go into these these neighborhoods that's not so affluent. Walk around these areas. Walk around the businesses in these areas. Talk to people. I guarantee you'll have a different perspective once you leave that interaction.
The bottom line is we're in a chemical war. We've been in this war for many years. China's fingerprints, the Chinese criminals are pushing this deadly substance. And by the way, LJ, just to be clear, we're not just talking about fentanyl. We're talking about synthetic opioids that are way more powerful than fentanyl, carfentanil, nitazene, adenitazene, metanitazene. And guess what?
Hmm. Even that thing that happened to us that had us in the house. You know, YouTube really doesn't like that, but even that thing that had us in the house, that was chemical warfare. It was man-made in a lab, got itself airborne, made its way over here, and killed a lot of people. Killed so many people that they had to make man-made graves to put all the people that it had killed in. I don't know if y'all kind of want to put that into the back of y'all minds and erase it and not remember that, but they had so many people that were dying from it that the morgues were overran. They had to make man-made graves to put all of these people in. These are places that loved ones can't go and remember their loved ones, and all the proper respect and stuff like that that happens when people die. They wasn't afforded that luxury. Couldn't have funerals and all kind of stuff like that because of the seriousness of it. So yeah, we have been in a chemical war for a long time, and if you're doing anything, and if you have vices like that, you might want to rethink it because even the dealer that you get it from, they don't necessarily know what's in it, and even if they do, they're not gonna sit and tell you. So I'm gonna let them continue for just a little bit before I close out.
We are in a war. So our Department of War is trying to keep Americans safe. Our president's trying to keep Americans safe. I don't really understand why anybody would actually speak out against that. Doesn't make sense. So if they're terrorists, they need to be held accountable, and this administration is finally holding them accountable. The last 4 years was a disaster. The bad guys took total advantage of the wide open border. We have all these ghost criminals in America, and the Democrats are now going after our Department of War and these brave men and women on the front lines that are trying to keep us safe. It makes no sense, and I hope it continues, and I'm looking forward to more and more progress. Actually, what we need to do, LJ, is we need to educate these kids, and we have to have an aggressive education campaign, and DEA just released the Fentanyl-Free America. They're going to be working with Sarah Carter, the new drug czar coming into America, who's going to go after the kids and educate them because they have no idea what they're taking, and they're being deceived to death at record levels. So we have to start with a very aggressive demand program. We have to get people the mental health services that they need. They get to get access to the addiction medication and the treatments. Yeah. But we have to hold everyone accountable, and that's what this government is doing right now.
I totally agree. And like they say, you have to educate your kids, because kids are very impressionable. They're susceptible to peer pressure and all types of other things. So you have to educate them and let them know, hey, don't just be trying anything. Don't do this, don't do that. And a lot of times, even if you say don't do it, put the information right in front of them and show them the results of what happens when you get out here and trying this and trying that. Um, I really feel like they're trying to knock off generations of Americans and put us at a disadvantage to where you know we just won't have certain generations here that continue on America. And thankfully, man, we got a president who sees past all the smoke and doesn't need anybody giving them you know any type of bribes and all this and that. He's well off. So and even if he wasn't, I still don't think he would be the type of individual who would fall for this type of stuff or go for this type of stuff. So I feel like we're in a good position. It's gonna take a while, man. But the only thing we can do is kind of educate and really put the truth out there. The truth that a lot of these politicians are turning a blind eye to. And that's what's really going on in these communities and these neighborhoods. Again, like, I have firsthand stories of talking to people and you know knowing exactly what they're going through, and it's not good. It's very tragic. But again, if you like my content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. This is Justin Paul. Peace.